Hello once again and welcome to Ebenchekwa, the Safe Space podcast brought to you by West Africa Broadcast and Media Academy, WABMA Development Foundation with support from Ford Foundation. Again, as you already know, or if you're joining us for the first time, this is where we have conversations to amplify voices, build communities, and inspire actions for positive development in our society. You're welcome once again, and on this episode, we are joined yet again by two wonderful people who I think are really the best, equipped to deal with the conversation that we're bringing to you on your screens today. And I'm your host, Angoleka Iwoba, as you know, and with me today, we have, in the spirit of ladies first, we have Pastor Nnenna Anozie, who is also a barrister. Pastor Nnenna is a household name in the CSO industry, human rights, women's rights, gender advocate, and everything along those lines. So I strongly believe that we have someone who is truly equipped in all ramifications to handle the conversation. You're welcome, Ma. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Anna.
It's a pleasure. Likewise, it's a pleasure. Okay, and also I mentioned that we have two people, no other person than Igwe HRH, His Royal Highness Igwe Dr. Anekwe J. Uchenna, the Chinecheze. I want to be sure I got that right. Chinecheze, yes, Chinecheze Eze Diogbe II, the traditional ruler of Diogbe Kingdom. Igwe, welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here and to be part of this program. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, so this is the month of March, and in March, we know how significant this month is for women, being the month where the International Women's Day holds, and everything we do in this month is, geared towards championing or advocating the rights of women and girls. And this is a month we could say that is more or less dedicated to women. And it has inspired the conversation today because we're talking about women, our voices, our power, our healing, our safety. And this is a very broad conversation. You will agree with me. There are aspects of it that, we could touch today or attempt to discuss to the best of our ability as, the time allows us. But let's start from the nuance of consent. So I want to start with the question of catcalling. This is something that is, very common, unfortunately. If you've ever been to the market as a woman, I'm sure you've been catcalled by, all sorts of people. And sometimes it doesn't even end there. They grab you by your clothes and, compel you to purchase what they're selling. So these are, it's our reality. It looks like it has come to stay. And I want to start again in the spirit of ladies first. So yes, Pastor Nnenna, maybe you could talk to us about your perception of that and what you think society should be doing, the individual, government, advocacy groups to remedy that.
Okay, thank you so much, Anozie. Honestly speaking, I so much frown at that catcalling. You dress up to go to the market and someone begins to drag you. Nne, come and buy. You could just simply say, I have this. Could you come and buy? I don't know what you have done with your hands in this time of, hygiene and all of that. You're dragging me. They don't care. They don't even know.
They can grab you by any part of your body.
Honestly. And the next thing, they will even start calling you names. Look at you. If you're fat, if you're slim, so they will just, so, and they don't know that is actually an abuse. Someone could go home feeling so bad with that. So I think it's high time we looked into it and also enlighten the people that is actually wrong. You should call people respectfully. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're selling, or whatever attention you want the person to give to you, you could do that respectfully. So I think civil society organizations that part has been neglected, especially when it has to do with this catcalling in the market. So they should look into it, sensitize the marketers, the traders. This is actually wrong. You're infringing on somebody's rights. It's not everybody that loves to be touched or even spoken to. And as an adult, if I want to buy something, I know where to buy. And if I don't know, I can ask you to help me. But if I have not solicited for your help, please don't help me. So me, I condemn it. in fact, I personally tell people, it's wrong for you to be touching people and grabbing them, dragging their clothes. You could tear their clothes. You could even push somebody down. You don't know how healthy anybody is. So a lot of things can come out. So please, we don't encourage that. It's part of the violence we are facing. And mostly it is gender-based because it's women that face it more.
I've never seen a man.
They hardly grab, yes. So that's why it's a gender-based violence.
Yeah, very important. Very important. I completely agree with you. We'll come to you, sir, because when we talk about market, also, our local markets are such powerful forces. The thing also happens in the traditional settings in rural areas where we have, local markets, and I want to bring in the example of the malls that we see in towns. For example, you walk into ShopRite, nobody is calling you. You already know where what you want is. So, what are we doing in the traditional leadership structure to maybe structure or restructure our markets in such a way that it discourages, by its very nature, it discourages traders from harassing people in the name of soliciting patronage?
Well, thank you very much. Just as you said, it's a very common thing to see people dragging women to come and buy from them. And I sincerely believe it is done out of ignorance. Anybody who is going to market knows what he wants to buy, where he or she wants to get what he wants to buy. And therefore, dragging that person, pushing or pulling that person to come to your shop, I believe is a very serious abuse. If you come to even the local market, some of them see it is even as an opportunity to touch a beautiful woman. And they do it with such intention that even if they are not selling what, they won't know what you are there to buy. But once you are passing, you use this opportunity, grab the hand or even tap the back and say, come and buy from me. Well, do you know what the person is there to buy? Are you sure what he wants to buy is what you're selling? So I strongly believe that even in our local market, it is also there. The only thing is that in the local market where we know ourselves, it's not all that very common, because you can't see somebody's wife and you go and tap the person at the back. You can't see somebody's daughter and you go and tap the person. But maybe in urban market where you don't know who is who, and then some of them will just be believing that after all, that person will come with the police to come and arrest me because I will just tell you that because I simply touched her. Yeah, but you wouldn't know, ignorantly as I say, that touching somebody without her consent is a violation of rights. So in our local market, it's not so common because of the way the market is structured. You want to buy Oba, the woman that sells Oba. You walk straight to her and buy. You want to buy a Ugri, the one that sells Ugri. It's not like in township where you have everything compounded, that people will be walking around and then somebody will be pulling you, a fine girl. And just as you said, the unfortunate thing is that when you react angrily, it attracts further abuse.
Indeed.
It attracts further abuse. Hey,
indeed, body shaming. That doing body shaming.
I touched you. Are you finer than my wife? Are you finer than my girlfriend?
But at the initial stage, they didn't know they had a wife. It wasn't a problem.
The person is finer than your wife or not finer than your wife. That does not give you the opportunity to touch that
people in the market. So it is a common thing, and which I believe that the government should do a lot. Organize the kind of seminar with the market leaders. Let them know that there are ways you can attract your customers without actually touching that person. And if they know really the principles and practice of customer service, you don't need to grab that person to pull him or her into your shop before that person buys from you. So because some people, especially the ladies who are not exposed to all this kind of insult, when you tell them to go to market to buy something, they become scared. If you tell your daughter to go, tell you I'm not going. And it's because of the kind of trauma she passes through in the hands of men, pulling her, calling her also of name, adorable, or leba, or whatever. And some of those things really constitute serious abuse, which for no reason we cannot allow to be.
Thank you so much. I think Igwe has even, touched the aspect of this that we didn't initially bring into the discussion. And so let's move to another aspect of this conversation, which is still on consent, and that is the issue of saying no to sex. So in relationships today, very often it's assumed that it's an entitlement, for each party to, is almost entitled to the other person's body. And it's not uncommon to hear that some men don't take it well when their partner, either their wife or their girlfriend, refuse their advances, and some even go as far as getting violent and raping the person, resulting to rape, in a bit to satisfy that. So I want to know what is the religious, perspective to this, or methods of addressing this? Because this is a very serious issue. And it's also serious in that when we talk about content, no is no, as they say. But then some people will tell you that, but what is no? Oh, she said no, but then she later gave in, or she said yes and she later. So it becomes almost nuanced. I want to know what exactly do we mean by content? How wide is that, the scope of content, and what really constitutes a yes when you in that? Yeah. Thank you. What do you mean by content? How wide is that, the scope of content, and what really constitutes a yes when you in that? Yeah.
Thank you. You see, when it has to do with sex, it should be a mutual agreement.
Really?
When I go for sensitization, I tell people, I tell young boys, even if Angoli was to be your girlfriend and she has been giving you sex every day, and then a particular day she comes and says, I don't want to have sex with you, even though we had it yesterday, you are my boyfriend, I don't want to have. If you have sex with Angoli without her consent that day, that is rape. And in our law, in the new law we have, which is Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law, it expanded the scope of rape to mean using any object, whether it is hand, whether it is any kind of object, pen, anything, inserting it in the mouth of that person, in the anus or in the vagina. That is rape. One of those days you just go free because the parties involved could not prove their case, could not prove that there was rape. And then coming to spousal rape, where the husband has to rape, there's no exact law, there's no law makes it a crime, that makes spousal rape a crime, because it's assumed that when you get married, the woman has given consent for you to have sex with her. But it becomes a problem when you have to take that sex by violence. When, as a man, you are aroused, you want to have sex, and your wife says, honey, I am not in the mood, or I am not feeling well. A sane man should wait. You understand? You should wait, respect that wish. But when you now slap, beat, push, that is where the woman can now come in, that my husband is being violent. Whether it's as a result of wanting sex, you don't have any reason to be violent on somebody. So men have argued over time that how can a woman, in Igbo land, they say they bought a woman. Why? Go. So, the woman that I bought with my money, you refuse me her body. So when she refuses you her body, instead of turning to, becoming violent to take it, which will now land you into trouble, you quietly leave. Then do the thing, even without conceding. You can have as many wives as possible in Igbo land, traditionally, not when you are married under the Act. I hope, because I'm making that clear because of this way that is there. It's that as a barrister saying you should have as many. So traditionally, they are free to. So and then of course, side chicks are raining everywhere. So they have side chicks. So if your wife cannot give you sex at a point and you are not disciplined enough to wait for her and show her love and know why she doesn't want, instead of turning to violence, please walk away. Then a woman too who has seen that a man is charged, maybe he's your boyfriend, he's charged, he wants to have you by all means, and you know that if care is not taken, he will turn violent. Please run away if it's possible. Scream for help if it's possible. That way you can avoid being raped. You understand? So that I think that is my
take on that.
Yes.
Very well rounded. Very well rounded. Thank you so much. Okay, so if we let's turn to you on this issue, because while she was speaking, she gave an instance of the woman who had consented to it, and maybe trouble loomed in the family, and she wanted to excuse herself from that ugly situation, and now made that allegation that she was raped, whereas the fact found out otherwise. It brings us to a crucial aspect of sexual offenses, which is falsehood in these things. And I find it so unacceptable that people would make accusations that are untrue in this regard, because nothing belittles the effort to take care of that situation than having people lie about it. So I want to understand from the traditional, perspective, from our culture and tradition, what are institutions connected to that doing to mental justice also to those who make false allegations in this matter? Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Just as she said earlier on, sex is something that gets to do with your mood. Even if you're a woman or you're a man and you're not in your best mood to have sex, you cannot enjoy it. So I keep on wondering, when you're raping a woman who is not in her good mood to give you sex, I wonder what that person is doing. You won't get any value out of it. You won't enjoy it. You understand? And just as she said, some of our girls, especially girls, now use rape as excuses for doing something unacceptable. You see somebody that will voluntarily visit a man, spend hours with the man, and come out and say, I was raped. This is the case related. Somebody is living in independent layout. You transport yourself from independent layout to Transekulo. Enter the streets from Dameja to this place. Walk from downstairs to upstairs. Yeah. Enter somebody's room. Spend from morning to evening and come out and say you were raped.
Yeah, but you can still be raped in that circumstance.
I know.
Yes. If you do not give a consent.
I know, but in such situations
where it is false.
Well, the traditional method we use is that there are cases we come and say you were raped. We have a different ways of finding out whether you were actually raped. And we keep more like cases are just okay. Remove your shoes. Match the soil on the ground. And you go for the raped. Some of them will tell you, actually it was not rape, but I did not consent. Once it was not rape, it is with consent. Once it is not with consent, it is rape. Yeah. So you cannot, the two cannot go together without consent but not rape, or with consent but rape. No. So in that situation, we can tell you, okay, come and swear to us that you were raped. Okay. You put that this girl actually consented to having sex with her. And then you see in such a case, the person will tell you, okay, actually, no, she did not give the consent, but because she's already here and I am pressed, I have to do it. And then in such situation, they now go for what? Settlement. Because by half. And then in the process of it by half, the crime is covered. So what we do, two options. It is either no consent or it was not done with our consent. And once it's not done with our consent, we report to appropriate authorities to take necessary action.